If you're trying to learn how to do push-ups, seriously, stop using your knees or bands or doing planks on your elbows and all these alleged progressions that go nowhere. Today, I'll show you 3 mistakes you're probably making, as well as 4 strange methods we use so you can dial in your push-ups, no sweat, plus go way beyond them like me and my students, all the way up to dips, flares, and even handstand push-ups. Then I'll save the best one for last. Here's a few problems you might be dealing with that's preventing you from learning push-ups. So let's go through them one at a time. This is the exact assessment I use for my new students. Can you hold a plank with straight arms? Does your back sag, or can you do hollow core with a rounded back like a turtle shell? Do your elbows flare out? Do your wrists hurt? Do your elbows hurt? Do your shoulders hurt? Can you lean your shoulders beyond your fingertips? Can you hold a plank on the tops of your feet like this? And can you hold a plank with bent arms? That one is hardly ever even mentioned, yet it's one of the most important, and we'll get into detail on why in a moment. Now, when I address these, it's not one at a time, but holistically, meaning full body. And because I do it this way, my students build total body mastery, meaning they build push-ups from all angles, dips from all angles, and even handstands from all angles, including people who've had pec, shoulder, and bicep tears, male and female, all ages, and all the way to level 10 in Powerbatics. Now, push-ups are not, I repeat, not built by progressive strength training, meaning don't use progressions, bands, or your knees. Here's the issue. A lot of people make the mistake of using cookie cutter mainstream methods like bodybuilding, thinking it will carry over to bodyweight strength and skill, but it does not. For example, you might think, oh, I can do a bench press with the bar and then add on 5 pounds per week and progress from there. And then you'll go and apply this to push-ups or other bodyweight strength and skill, thinking, well, let me use this same type of progression, find easier moves I think will progress to push-ups, and then add new progressions each week, and soon I'll have push-ups or handstand push-ups or whatever else. Even I fell into that thinking for a while, but that's not how it works at all. When I was first training, I never even heard of progressions. I practiced a skill until I learned the skill. But then progressions became all the rage. I bought into that for a while and even mention it from time to time in my videos. But after years of data with thousands of students and through my own training, I know for a fact that they do not work like they are purported to work. People think there's this magic line of progressions that takes you all the way up the stairway to heaven of calisthenics. For example, kneeling push-ups, then pyramid push-ups, etc., until handstand push-ups. But in reality, they only work here and there, maybe I'd say 20% of the time, because people have way too many weak links that impede that perfectly smooth line of progress. Progress is more like the stock market or a twirling ball of yarn. Give me an amen in the comments if you've been there. So you'll hear me mention kneeling push-ups or other progressions here and there in my videos, and will sometimes prescribe them as part of training, but that's only 20% of the full puzzle. Because push-ups or any bodyweight move are a full body strength move, since push-ups use everything from 1, the toes to bear weight, 2, the quads to make the legs straight, 3, the core to hold position, meaning you shouldn't sag your back, but you should have a hollow core and look like there's a turtle shell on your back. 4, glutes to stabilize. 5, protraction of the scapula, meaning you shouldn't see chicken wings sticking out. 6, deltoid, pectoralis, and tricep strength. 7, strength to weight ratio, meaning how much strength you have relative to your body size. A person who can do a handstand push-up, for example, has a high strength to weight ratio, which is ideal because it allows you to move with freedom and power. And then 8, wrist strength and mobility. Each of these may be a weak link for different people for different reasons. In fact, about 70% of people coming into our training online at Pacific Rim Athletics can't do push-ups, and that probably mirrors the population at large, especially when we know that about 80% of the population is overweight and about 80% have back pain and joint pain. So 70% of people in the world not able to do push-ups makes kind of sense. Now, first mistake, do not resort to kneeling push-ups. This disengages you from the knees down, but people do it because it's a mainstream method. If you don't use mainstream methods, you might be able to progress like Drea, who went from 0 push-ups to push-ups and handstands, or Patrick in his 60s, who can now do handstands and muscle-ups. Don't limit yourself. Second mistake, don't do planks on your elbows either, which completely disengages the arms. People think it builds core strength, but it just doesn't. And there's a myriad of other core strength that you should be working on that I talk about in my other videos, like V-stand, meat hooks, front levers, and flares. If you engage correctly, you could most likely progress just like Isaac, who went from complete lack of coordination and strength to handstands from all angles. The third mistake, don't use bands or other gadgets that allow weak links to linger and get worse. If you fix your weak links, you could probably advance like Zoltan, who went from couldn't walk level back pain all the way to handstands and level 8 ninja strength. So how do you build basic push-ups and then go way beyond them without using bands, progressions, mainstream methods, or kneeling push-ups? Here's the overall idea. Use your entire body. Now let me show you 4 concrete solutions. And these strategies not only build push-ups, but more advanced skills like dips, flares, and handstand push-ups too. First solution is this. Use something I call micro moves that keep the entire body working, but divide up the move into smaller ranges of motion. So how about just doing a push-up position, okay? And then only go a couple inches down for your push-ups. I say this all the time when I'm coaching. Only go so low that you don't fall. You see? Do your sets and reps as full body mini moves. You can also flip it and do this at the bottom, a bent arm plank with small reps going as high as you can without collapsing. Eventually, these connect into full range push-ups. This is the exact same thing I did and what I use to help my students build push-ups and dips and flares and handstand push-ups too. Practice the mini moves inside the pinnacle moves without coming down or falling. This builds insane levels of balance, coordination, and strength. Second solution is this. Use different angles. One of the things we look at for our new students coming in is if they can do a wall push-up. This actually uses the entire body, see? But it's simply a different angle. And don't get caught up in those, this only targets the upper pec, blah, blah, blah. That's limited mainstream thinking. Train your whole body and you'll be more powerful than anyone you see in a mainstream gym. So we'll start with wall push-ups and then quickly change angles. And we don't change the angle to target different muscle groups. We change the angle to increase or decrease the leverage from upright on the wall all the way to inverted on the wall. And third solution is this. Don't obsess about your weak links, but don't forget about them either. A big reason that many people cannot do push-ups or other strength and skill is because their wrists hurt or their elbows hurt or because they can't support their own weight. We actually take the wrist section of our master warm-up and include it in many clients' strength protocols to help them build wrist strength and mobility. And the connective tissue of the elbows must also remold for mobility. And as the weight comes off through training holistically, push-ups become effortless. And the fourth solution, which is also the best solution that I save for last. The biggest and best piece of advice I can tell you is to forget about push-ups altogether and simply be on your hands more. I also asked my coaches what they thought the biggest thing was that helped our students get their push-ups. And they said the exact same thing. Be on your hands more. Start learning flares or some basic power moves, or do some heavy bag training, or learn free running with all of the rolls, cartwheels, and vaults using the entire upper body. That's full body training in its purest, best, and most fun form. And it'll take you to levels you never even thought possible. Just like Patrick, Drea, Isaac, and Zoltan. But these are just a few things from the 5 elements of Powerbatics that work for me and my students. Just scratching the surface, you know? So use the link to connect with me and my team for training, and we can chat about your goals, roadblocks, and progress. See you in the next video and in training soon.